The smell hit me first. You know that smell, old paper, dust, and something else I couldn't quite place. Grief, maybe. Or secrets. I was 34 years old, standing in my dead father's garage in San Diego, surrounded by 20 years of accumulated stuff. Mom had been gone for 6 months now, and Dad followed her 2 weeks ago. Heart attack. Quick and clean, the doctor said. Nothing like the war stories he used to tell. God, if I had known what I was about to find. But hey, before we dive into this mess, if you're enjoying this story, please hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. These family stories, they're not easy to tell, but they need to be heard. Trust me on this one. So there I was, sorting through boxes of Marine memorabilia. Purple hearts, bronze stars, commendation letters. My father, Sergeant Major Robert Bull Martinez, was a legend in our neighborhood. 22 years in the Corps, 2 tours in Vietnam, 1 in Afghanistan. The man who taught me that honor wasn't just a word, it was a way of life, so I thought. The box was wedged behind his workbench, sealed with duct tape like it was hiding nuclear codes. Inside was a manila envelope with my name written in Dad's careful block letters. The handwriting was shaky, not the steady Marine script I remembered from birthday cards. My hands were trembling as I opened it. I don't know why. Maybe part of me already knew. Elena, it began. If you're reading this, I'm probably dead, and that's for the best. What I'm about to tell you, it should have died with me. But the guilt is eating me alive, Mija, and someone needs to know the truth. I sat down hard on his metal folding chair. The same chair where he'd taught me to tie combat boots at age 8. Where he'd explained the meaning of Semper Fidelis, always faithful. The bronze star I wear to every Veterans Day parade? I never earned it. The purple heart hanging in the living room? Bought from a junkie outside Camp Pendleton for $50. The commendation letter from General Morrison? I wrote it myself. The words swam on the page. This couldn't be. My father was a hero. The whole neighborhood knew it. The VA knew it. Hell, the local news had done a feature on him just last year for Hispanic Heritage Month. It started small. A buddy of mine, Tommy Nakamura, got killed by an IED in Fallujah. His paperwork got mixed up, delayed. His family wasn't getting the death benefits they deserved because some pencil pusher couldn't find his service record. So I adjusted some things. Made sure Tommy's family got what they needed. I kept reading, but my brain was rejecting every word. Then it got easier. Miguel Santos came back from Afghanistan missing his left leg and most of his mind. PTSD so bad he couldn't fill out the disability forms. The VA was giving him the runaround. So I filled out the forms for him. Maybe I exaggerated his service record a little. Maybe I added some commendations that weren't quite accurate. But Miguel got his benefits. His family kept their house. My chest was tight. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. But somewhere along the way, I crossed a line. I started keeping some of those benefits for myself. For your mother. For you. The college fund that paid for your nursing degree? That came from disability payments meant for dead Marines. Men better than me. Men who actually bled for this country. I dropped the letter. Just dropped it and watched it flutter to the concrete floor like a white flag of surrender. 24 years of my life, I'd believed in him. Defended him. When my college boyfriend Jake called military worship toxic masculinity, I'd broken up with him. When my liberal friends rolled their eyes at Dad's flag-waving patriotism, I'd shut them down. Hard, because Robert Martinez was a hero, except he wasn't. I picked up the letter with numb fingers. The real heroes are buried in Arlington. Or they're living under bridges because the system failed them. Men like Corporal James Brennan, who died saving 6 Marines in Kandahar. His family never got the full benefits because I redirected his file. Claimed his heroics for myself. His mother died in poverty while I bought your mother that new car. There was more. Page after page of confessions. Names of real heroes whose stories my father had stolen. Families who'd been cheated. A web of lies spanning 2 decades, but the worst part? The part that made me physically sick? I told myself I was Robin Hood, stealing from the government to help deserving families. But the truth is, I was a coward. I came back from Vietnam whole and healthy while better men came back in boxes. I felt guilty about that. So I convinced myself I deserved their honor, their recognition, their benefits. I'm sorry, Mija. I'm sorry I lied to you. I'm sorry I built our life on stolen valor. And I'm sorry that now you have to decide what to do with this truth. The letter was signed with a single word, coward. I sat in that garage for 3 hours. Just sat there, staring at my father's medals hanging on the pegboard wall. Each one a lie. Each one stolen from someone who actually earned it. You know what the crazy thing was? Part of me wanted to burn the letter. Pretend I never found it. Dad was dead. Mom was dead. The only person left who could be hurt by this truth was me, but then I thought about James Brennan's mother, dying in poverty while we lived in comfort. I thought about Tommy Nakamura's family, fighting for years to get the benefits they deserved, and I thought about Dad's favorite saying, "The truth isn't always convenient, Elena. But it's always necessary." Funny how his own words condemned him that night. I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about my nursing school graduation. Dad in his dress blues, chest full of stolen medals, telling everyone how proud he was of his daughter. How she was carrying on the family tradition of service. What a joke. I started researching. The internet is an amazing thing when you're looking for military records. It took me 3 weeks to verify what Dad had confessed to. 3 weeks of diving into databases, calling VA offices, tracking down families. Everything he'd written was true. Worse than true, actually. He'd understated it. James Brennan's family wasn't just denied full benefits, they'd been fighting for 20 years to get recognition for his sacrifice. His mother, Dorothy, had spent her life savings on legal fees trying to prove her son was a hero. She died 6 months before Dad wrote his confession. 6 months. I found her daughter, Sarah, living in Phoenix, working 2 jobs to pay off her mother's medical debt. When I made my decision, but first, I had to tell my family and why Brother Miguel, named after one of Dad's supposed war buddies, was a Marine himself. Staff sergeant, stationed at Camp Lejeune. When I called him, he was getting ready for his 3rd deployment to Afghanistan. Elena, what the hell are you talking about? His voice crackled through the phone connection. Dad's medals are fake? That's impossible. I've seen his service record. The service record he created, Miguel. He forged half of it. Silence. Then, you found some old papers in the garage and you think they prove Dad was a fraud? Jesus, Elena. The man's been dead 2 weeks and you're already trying to destroy his memory? I'm trying to honor the memory of the men whose valor he stole. You don't even know if that letter is real. Maybe he was having one of his episodes. You know how he got sometimes. Confused. Guilty about survivor's syndrome. Survivor's syndrome. That's what we'd always called Dad's dark moods. The times he'd stare at the wall for hours, mumbling about the men who didn't make it home. Turns out he wasn't mourning. He was confessing. Miguel, I have documentation. I've verified, I don't want to hear it. His voice was steel. Dad was a Marine. A real Marine. Whatever you think you found, you're wrong. And if you try to destroy his reputation, you're not my sister anymore. He hung up. My sister Rosa was gentler but equally stubborn. Elena, mi amor, you're grieving. This isn't the time to make big decisions. Put the papers away. Let Dad rest in peace. What about the families who never got to rest in peace? What about the mothers who died poor while we lived off blood money? Blood money? Elena, listen to yourself. You sound crazy. Maybe I was crazy. Maybe normal people would have burned the letter and moved on. But every time I closed my eyes, I saw Dorothy Brennan. A Gold Star mother who died believing her son's sacrifice had been forgotten, started with the VA, filed a formal complaint. Submitted Dad's confession letter and all my documentation. The investigation took 4 months. 4 months of phone calls, interviews, document reviews. 4 months of my family not speaking to me. 4 months of neighbors whispering when I walked to my mailbox. The worst part was the local VFW. These were Dad's friends. His Marine brothers. Men who'd served alongside him, or thought they had. When word got out about the investigation, they closed ranks. Bobby Martinez bled for this country, growled Frank Kowalski, the VFW commander. Some pencil pusher at the VA doesn't get to rewrite history because his daughter found some old papers. But the evidence was overwhelming. Dad had been meticulous in his confession. Names, dates, forged documents. The VA investigators found discrepancies going back 20 years. The formal report came out on a Tuesday. Front page of the San Diego Union-Tribune, local veterans' medals revealed as fraudulent in massive benefits scam. The article was devastating. It detailed how Robert Martinez had systematically stolen valor from fallen heroes, redirecting benefits to his own family while real military families struggled. The reporter had tracked down James Brennan's daughter, Tommy Nakamura's widow, Miguel Santos's children. Their stories broke my heart. Sarah Brennan crying as she described watching her mother die, convinced her son's sacrifice meant nothing. She never got to see him honored. Never got to know that people remembered what he did. She died thinking the Marine Corps had forgotten her boy. Tommy Nakamura's widow, Keiko, showing photos of their son, the son who'd grown up believing his father was worthless because the official records showed no commendations, no recognition for his sacrifice. Miguel Santos himself, now 58 and living in a VA facility for veterans with severe PTSD. When the reporter showed him Dad's confession, he just shook his head. I knew something wasn't right. My memories didn't match the paperwork. But I thought maybe the trauma had scrambled my brain. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Someone spray-painted "traitor" across my driveway. My nursing supervisor called me into her office, concerned about workplace disruption from angry veterans' families. A group of Dad's VFW buddies showed up at my apartment, demanding I recant my lies. "Your father was a hero," Frank Kowalski repeated, jabbing his finger at me. "A goddamn hero. And you're destroying his memory for what? Attention? Money from some book deal? I'm trying to restore honor to the men who actually earned it." Bullshit. You're trying to tear down everything good about this country. Everything your father fought for. But he hadn't fought for it. That was the point they couldn't understand. The legal consequences came next. The VA launched a full audit of benefits paid to our family over the past 20 years. The total was staggering. $847,000 in fraudulent payments. Disability compensation, education benefits, housing allowances, all built on stolen valor. They wanted it back. All of it. With interest, the house had to be sold. Dad's beloved 1967 Mustang, restored with disability money, went to auction. Mom's jewelry, Dad's gun collection, even my college fund money had to be returned. I lost everything. But more importantly, my family lost everything. Miguel's wife filed for divorce, claiming she couldn't handle the shame and disgrace. Rosa's husband, a career Navy officer, faced questions about his own integrity because of his association with our family. My nephew, Miguel's eldest son, was discharged from the Naval Academy after the scandal broke. "Are you happy now?" Rosa screamed at me during our last phone conversation. "You've destroyed 3 generations of our family to satisfy your guilt complex. Dad made mistakes, but he's dead. You're killing the living to avenge the dead." Maybe she was right. But every night, I thought about Dorothy Brennan. About all the Gold Star mothers who'd died believing their sons were forgotten. The ceremony was small. The VA arranged it quietly, not wanting more media attention. Sarah Brennan flew in from Phoenix. Keiko Nakamura came from Los Angeles with her grown son. Miguel Santos was too fragile to travel, but his daughter represented him. One by one, they received the recognition their loved ones had earned. Bronze stars, Purple Hearts, commendation letters. The real ones. The ones their heroes had actually bled for. Sarah Brennan held her father's Congressional Medal of Honor, the medal Dad had claimed as his own, and wept. Mom would have been so proud. She always said Daddy was special. That he saved those Marines because that's who he was. She just wanted people to know. Keiko Nakamura's son, Tommy Jr., accepted his father's posthumous Bronze Star. He was 31 years old, the same age his father had been when he died. I grew up thinking my dad was nobody special, he said quietly. Now I know he was a hero. Thank you for giving him back to us. But the real moment, the one that broke me, was when Miguel Santos's daughter showed me a photo. Her father in his dress blues, 25 years old, standing next to his squad in Afghanistan. Before the IED. Before the PTSD. Before Dad's lies convinced him he was worthless. Look at his eyes, she whispered. That's who he was. That's who he still is, underneath all the damage. A hero. That night, I called Miguel. My brother, not the war veteran. He answered on the 10th ring. What do you want, Elena? I wanted to tell you about the ceremony. About the families, I don't want to hear it. Miguel, these people, their loved ones were real heroes. Dad took that away from them. For 20 years, they thought Dad was a real hero. He served. He sacrificed. Maybe he made some mistakes with paperwork, but he didn't make mistakes. He stole. He built our entire life on stolen valor. And you destroyed our entire life to return it. So congratulations, Elena. You're the hero now. Hope it was worth it. The line went dead. 3 months later, I moved to Portland. New city, new job, new life. I found work at a VA hospital, taking care of veterans. Real veterans. Men and women who'd actually earned their medical care. The irony wasn't lost on me, and why coworkers don't know about Dad. About the scandal. About why I left San Diego. I just tell them I wanted a fresh start, and they nod knowingly. Everyone understands wanting to escape the past, but here's the thing about the past, it follows you. Every Veterans Day, every Memorial Day, every time I see a gold star flag in someone's window, I think about Dad. About the choice I made. About the family I lost. Do I regret it? That's the question everyone wants answered, right? The moral of the story, I think about Dorothy Brennan, dying alone while we lived in comfort. I think about Tommy Nakamura Jr., growing up ashamed of his hero father. I think about Miguel Santos, convinced by fake paperwork that his memories of valor were trauma-induced delusions, and then I think about Rosa's kids, who'll grow up knowing their grandfather was a fraud. About Miguel's destroyed military career. About the family gatherings that will never happen again. The truth isn't always convenient. But it's always necessary. Dad taught me that. Ironic, considering he spent 20 years running from it. Last week, I got a letter. Sarah Brennan had found my new address somehow. Inside was a photo, her and her mother at her father's grave in Arlington. The headstone now includes his Congressional Medal of Honor citation. The full citation. The real one. Thank you, Sarah wrote. For giving my mother's son back to her. She would have wanted you to know you did the right thing. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. But I can sleep at night now. That has to count for something. The weight of stolen honor is heavier than you think. It presses down on generations, crushing the truth under layers of comfortable lies. But the weight of returned honor, that lifts everyone up, even the ones who have to carry it alone. Have you ever discovered something about your family that changed everything? Something that forced you to choose between comfortable lies and difficult truths? Share your story in the comments below. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is speak the truth, even when it costs us everything. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories about real people facing impossible choices. Because sometimes the most important stories are the ones nobody wants to tell.